All right, good evening. Welcome to Sky Yoga. I'm Stephanie, and we're going to focus on backs and twisting tonight. But as usual, we'll start seated to do some breathing, intentional breathing. So maybe you like to sit on a cushion, elevating your hips over your knees, and settle your lower body down. Let your legs relax into the floor and lift your spine and torso upright in a way that it can just be settled on your lower body without too much effort. And then let your shoulders relax, rest your hands, and tilt your chin down until you feel your neck line up with your spine. Nice neutral spine and neck. And then just begin to observe your breath. So observing your breath for the moment. And then we're going to engage in a more intentional pranayama, which is translated breath control. I like to call it intentional breath. And of course, you're welcome to do any pranayama that you enjoy. In honor of my friend Anna, who just arrived, I'll do the flower pranayama because she's a botanist and a biologist. So we will inhale and feel the air rising up through your spine, lifting up toward your face, and you bloom like a flower. So opening up, breath comes in, allowing you to bloom. And then as you exhale, imagine that flower curling up for the night. So just like plants have a cycle of respiration and expiration, I think, so do we. Ours is just much faster. But think about plants, and that will help you slow it down. So slowly inhale. Imagine the oxygen helping you to bloom, and then slowly exhale, allowing yourself to relax like a flower that collapses in the evening. And then we will convert these long, slow breaths into somewhat more active cleansing breaths. So fill up your lungs, your rib cage, feel your whole torso expand like a beach ball. Maybe you feel your elbows move out as the ribs expand. And then exhale, use your abs to squeeze out the last air on your exhale. So take several of those big cleansing breaths. And you can really pause at the top when your lungs are full and savor that fullness, and pause at the bottom when your lungs are empty and savor that rest. Really see how much you can exhale. And then on our next inhale, exhale, I invite you to stick out your tongue on the exhale. And I really feel my core working when I do that. It kind of, the tongue engages the whole torso. All right, now we'll start stretching. So drop your neck down towards your chin and let your head hang. Let it be heavy and feel the stretch along your upper back. Continue to breathe deeply. And when you feel things beginning to warm up, start rolling your head in a big half circle so that your chin goes from shoulder to shoulder. And if that's going well, try the full circle. Be gentle with yourself. Try the other direction. You can always go back to the half circle if the full circle is too much. And then we're going to lift the head up, sitting erect again, shoulders relaxed down, and clasp your hands behind your back and lift your hands high, clasped together. You'll feel your shoulder blades squeezing together. Inhale, feel the front of your chest expand and the back of your chest expand. It's going to push your shoulder blades apart. And then give yourself a big hug. Notice which elbow is on top. Excuse me. And then we'll do something very similar. Open the arms wide again, but with your thumbs up, press the backs of the hands toward each other. So we're not clasping. Again, the chest puffs out in this pose called Robin's Breast. Keep your torso upright. Try not to lean too far forward and feel the arch in your back. And then we'll do another big hug with the other elbow on top. Excuse my yawns. And then open the arms wide, spread the fingers, reach for the sky. Inhale fully. And then exhale, dropping to one side for a side bend. Gently pulling your elbow back in line with your head. And bending that lower elbow so you can fall deeper into this side stretch. Just very slowly coming down, down, down. And then on your next inhale, we'll reach high again. And exhale the other way. Deep stretch. Bottom elbow is bent, top elbow is pulled back. And then inhale and reach high again. And bring your hands down to your legs, and we'll do some shoulder rolls. Inhale, up, and exhale down. And now change direction, still inhaling up and exhaling down. Feel your shoulder blades moving. Whew. And now, we'll come to hands and knees to continue warming up. From tabletop, moving into cats and cows. So lift your spine, press your navel up toward the sky through your spine. Arms lift, tailbone drops, head drops. Stretch, arching through your back in cat pose, and then exhale and push backwards into a modified child's pose, and then bending the elbows, pulling forward, spine arches the other way, belly drops, head and hips lift, reach up with your face, look upwards, feel the stretch in your belly, and then reverse it. So just continue flowing through your cats and cows, paying attention to the arch of your back. And the next time that you're up in in tabletop, we'll do horse pose. So your arms and thighs will remain straight up and down, vertical. You'll look over your right shoulder toward your right hip. So squeeze shoulder and hip together. Feel your right side compress. Breathe. We're flexing the spine side to side now instead of up and down. And then inhale back to center. There's some kind of dog drama going on. Exhale to the left, looking over your left shoulder towards your left hip. Compressing your left side, stretching the right. And on your next inhale, come back to center and wag your tail. We'll go straight into Sufi rolls, aka drunken cow. So spinning around. Oh, big circles, big breaths. Push way back, swing way forward. And then change direction. Notice how your body feels going each of these directions. Is there a direction that's easier or harder? A spot that's stiffer on one side than the other? Swing forward into an ab stretch. So arms can be straight up and down, or you can rest on your elbows. Either way, sway your torso side to side, looking over your shoulders. Feel the stretch in your obliques. And then we're going to push back into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch. Arms stretching forward, nice and long. Use your active fingers to press against the mat and push your hips back onto your heels. See if you can get your butt to touch your heels. This is great for your low back. All right, and we are going to come up and do one conditioning exercise, and it's a tough one. It's elbows. There are two varieties. The easier version is from tabletop, where we are right now. You would extend the active leg and then bring your knee up to your elbow. If you want a harder version of this, you would come up into down dog. And same thing, extend your leg and bring your knee to your elbow. So find your beginning position, whether it's tabletop or down dog. We'll start with the right leg. Extend your right leg, bring elbow to knee, and extend. elbow to knee, out for 2, 3, touch, 4, touch, 5, elbow to knee, 6, 7, 3 more, 8, 9, last 1. So if you're in down dog, you can come down and rest on your knees a moment. You can push back into a child's pose. Catch your breath before we do the next side. So if you were in tabletop and it was easy, maybe challenge yourself, try down dog. If you were in down dog and it was hard, maybe you want to switch to tabletop. So now we'll extend the left leg, bring elbow to knee, and extend. Touch, 2, touch, 3, elbow to knee, 4, touch, 5, halfway there, 6, 7, 3 more, 8, 9, last 1. Good job. Come down to your knees and push back into child's pose. You have the option to add the tricep stretch by touching your hands to the back of your neck. Especially if you were in down dog, your arms were working also. We usually make elbows harder by not just coming to the knee, or sorry, knee to elbow, but across to the other elbow as well. But not tonight. All right, let's roll over on the back and do some back stretches. So hug your knees in. Throughout these, try to keep your feet side by side instead of crossed. It's more symmetrical. So we're just hugging the knees and rocking side to side. And then place your hands on your knees. We're going to guide the knees in circles. Go lie down. Settle. Guiding the knees in circles. So your arms do the work. They pull the knees in. They push the knees out. And really focus on letting your low back be nice and loose and roll against the floor. You'll feel the top of your pelvis rolling against the floor. For me, I think it's really nice. And then we're going to change direction. Same thing. Good. And then bringing your knees in again, we're going to lift the feet and then reach as far as you can. Maybe you grab your shins or your ankles. Maybe you can grab your feet and pull them wide apart. And then rock side to side. And feel what the floor is doing to your back. And then the next time you're in the center, bring the soles of your feet together. You may shift your grip up to your ankles like I just did so that you can press your knees away, pulling the feet in, pressing the knees away. And what I feel is my low back is pretty much plastered to the floor. It's just completely flat on the floor and it feels really nice. And then we're going to let go of the ankles. Keep your feet together and drop them down to the mat. And now your low back arches off the mat. And you can rock side to side and stretch your inner thighs. And then we'll bring the knees back up, feet in close to your body. And we'll do bridge pose, a couple different variations. So hands at your side, feet close to your body. Lift your hips. And what we're aiming for is a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. So getting your hips up in line with your torso and your knees. Try to keep the knees both pointing forward. They may want to splay out. Keep them pointing forward. You can put a cushion between them to help guide them forward, but just keep lifting your hips and feel what that is doing to your low back. Of course, if it hurts, come down. But it really allows the low back to be lifted and completely stretched out. You may also be feeling a stretch in your quads. You can bring your hands together underneath you, squeeze your shoulders together. You might be able to reach your heels. Feel like a bow that's been strung and is about to loose the arrow. But instead of that twang of an arrow releasing, we're going to slowly come down. So if your arms were underneath you, bring them back out to your sides and slowly as like a balloon deflating, bring your spine down one vertebra at a time. Until finally your tailbone hits the floor, and then you hug your knees. And rock. Feet back on the floor, we'll do bridge pose again. So lifting your hips up high, bringing your hands together underneath you, and then get your weight pressed into your right foot and lift your left leg. Stretch that left leg straight up in the air. Breathe. Keep lifting your hips. And then slowly bring that left foot down with control. Lift your hips again. Pretty sure they dropped like mine did. And then lift your right leg straight in the air. Breathe. Extend. Push your hips up. And then come down nice and slow. Release your hands and bring your spine down as slowly as you can. Hug your knees when you reach the floor. And now place your hands behind your thighs, so behind your knees. And we're going to rock forward and backward until you have the momentum to come up into boat pose. This is tough. It can take some practice, but it's another nice way to massage your back from top to bottom. Yep. And the goal, when you come up into boat pose, is to keep your feet in the air, but you might have seen me, I just touched down. So let's pause here in boat pose. This is great for the quads. Just pausing here, holding your thighs, shins parallel to the floor. Reach toward your feet, maybe straighten your legs and reach for your feet. And I fall back, and that's okay. Let's lie back and take a nice long, big, full body stretch. Arms overhead, feet down below. Big, long, full body stretch. And then with an exhale, bring your right knee into your chest and hug it in. Hug your right knee close, close, close. Feel the stretch in your left hip flexor. And then grab your right shin in your right hand and open it outward. Just let it fall open like a wing or a page of a book. Your right arm is pulling it downward. Gravity is pulling it downward. And then hug that knee in again. And now we'll switch hands. Your left hand grasps your right shin and pulls it across your body. And what I like to do is tuck my right foot behind the left thigh. Gives it a place to be. And then I pull the right knee towards the floor. And then look away from your right knee over your right shoulder for a full twist. So this is gently twisting the whole back. If looking over your right shoulder is too much, bring your head back facing your knee. Do not mess with your neck. Your neck is part of your spine, so make it part of this twist if you're able to do so safely. I'm also feeling big stretch in the right hip. This is wet wash rag pose in my yoga world. And then we'll roll back to center, hug your right knee, hug your left knee, rock and roll a moment. And then extend your right leg and hug your left knee hard. Feel the stretch in your right quad, your right hip. Pull that left knee tight. And then with your left hand, grab your left shin and open outward like a wing. Letting gravity and body weight pull that left knee downward. Maybe your foot touches the floor, maybe not. Check in with your shoulders. Let your shoulders be as relaxed as possible. Maybe your left one's working a little bit, but your right shoulder should just be soft on the mat. Check in with your right hip. Maybe place your right hand on your right hip to hold it down. And then pull that left knee in, give it a hug, and switch hands. Now your right hand is pulling your left knee, your left foot is tucked behind your right thigh, and you're rolling that right knee towards the floor. Feeling the twist in your mid-back, and then maybe looking away from your knee over your left shoulder and feeling the twist all the way up through your upper back into your neck. And then slowly come back to center, hugging both knees. And a little rock. And how does your low back feel? Check in. Let's roll to one side and push up to seated for a seated twist. So you can do this in cross-legged pose. You can do this in stem pose. Let's start cross-legged. It's just going to change the stretch a little bit depending on your seat. So in a cross-legged pose, we're going to bring your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind you. Oh, twisting, looking over your left shoulder. Breathe fully, feel your torso expand. And with your next exhale, see if you can take your left hand a little further along that arc that you're making behind you. Relax your lower body. And then come back to center, and let's switch the cross of the legs to twist the other way. So we're sitting in that weird, awkward position we don't usually sit in. And now bring your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind you. Twist, looking over your shoulder. And then with your next exhale, try to move your right hand just a little further, maybe just an inch. And then swing around back to center. Bring your knees in front of you. We'll extend the right leg. And then your left knee is bent in front of you. Bring your right elbow outside your left knee. So you're crossing across the body. Right elbow outside the left knee. Your hand can pause here and make a mudra, one of those pretty finger positions. And then your left hand swings around behind you again. So very similar to the last twist, but I feel more in the left hip this time because I'm using my right arm as a lever to push the left foot across, or the left knee across, sorry. And again, you can try on an exhale to move your left hand a little further. And then come back to center. If you saw me hesitate earlier, it's because I was confused. I usually cross the leg over here, but we'll do it the same on both sides. So extend your left leg now and pull your right foot in. Sit up nice and tall. And we'll bring the left elbow outside the right knee and your right arm behind you. So using the left arm to push your right knee across, stretching your right hip. And then maybe with an exhale, move your right hand a little further. And then come back to center. Hug your knees, sit up straight. Feel your back unkink, if it was kinky. And let's see, what's one more thing we can do for the back before Shavasana? Let's do a reverse plank. It's not specifically for the back, but it's a nice way to get a full body stretch. So with your legs straight out in front of you and your arms straight up and down, it doesn't matter which way your fingers face, whichever way is more comfortable for you. We're going to lift the hips up again, aiming for that straight line from ankles to shoulders. You have the option to drop your head, or you can keep your head up. Use your glutes to push those hips up high. And again, we're lifting the low back off of the floor, taking weight off the low back. And then slowly lower down. Very nice. All right, let's do knee down twist as a lead into Shavasana. So coming down on the back. Hug your knees a moment. And then we're going to lift your knees so that they're directly above your hips, but your feet are dangling downward. Tee your arms out to the side, and we'll drop your knees toward the right. Maybe they touch the ground. Place your right hand on your top knee to hold them down. And then if you're able, slowly roll your head over to the left, looking away from your knees. Again, getting a gentle twist all throughout the spine, as well as stretching the left hip. Roll your head back to center and engage your abs. Firm up your core, rolling your knees back to center. And now hug and rock. And we'll go the other way. So knees directly above your hips, feet dangling, arms tee out, knees drop left. Left hand holds them down. Look away over your right shoulder. And you don't have to have a death grip on your knees. You can just be placing your hand there lightly, using your body weight to gently press the right knee downward, stretching your right hip. And again, head to center, firm abs, knees to center, rock and roll. And then bring your legs into a Shavasana position. So if your back is sore, you may want to have your feet on the floor and your knees resting against each other. It helps to have the feet pretty wide if you're going to do that. Again, it takes the weight off your low back. Maybe you just prefer the traditional legs extended Shavasana. Arms are typically at your sides. If your legs are extended, let your feet just flop out side to side. And begin to relax from head to toe. Let your head sink heavy into the mat. And let your face soften. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Relax your jaw. Relax your mouth. Let your whole face be soft. Relax your neck and loosen your throat. Let your vocal cords relax. Let your shoulders sink back. And let your upper back relax into the mat. Let your rib cage relax. Let the breath breathe itself. Feel that softness flowing down your arms to your elbows, forearms, wrists. Let the backs of your hands sink heavy into the mat. And let your fingertips be soft. Let your navel sink down toward your spine, relaxing your abs. Let your pelvis melt into the mat. Let your thighs soften. Let your glutes relax. Feel the softness flow down through your legs, your knees, and calves. Feel your heels sitting heavy on the mat, and your toes are soft. Continue allowing your breath to breathe itself. And now begin to breathe with more purpose and intention, pulling air through your lungs into your limbs, your fingers, your toes. Let that oxygen bring your fingers and toes back to life. Gently roll your wrists, ankles, neck. And then take whatever position would help you transition back to your day. So popular ones are a long full body stretch, or curling your knees up to your chest into a ball. And then rolling over to one side, resting your head on your arm. Give yourself a smile and a pat on the back. You did something nice for yourself. Congratulations. And when you're ready, push up to seated. Thank you all so much for joining me. Namaste.
That was great.
Yay!